You'll do damage to yourself.
Oh,
Oh, top of the morning to you. Another such Irish cliches. My name is Peter, this is Chris,
and we're here today to talk to you about St. Patrick's Day, a time where people from all over the world come together to celebrate our patron saint. Here is St. Patrick, and this is probably a semi-accurate representation, minus the sunglasses.
Patrick,
I don't imagine he wore sunglasses.
Yeah, he liked his Ray-Bans while touring the country. The Garda Drug Squad.
Yeah, just sniffing for some cocaine that I'm sure people are going to be taking.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Dracula, traditionally Irish.
Do you not know the old story of Dracula and St. Patrick?
He actually had to emigrate to Transylvania. He was banished from Ireland.
So who the hell was the real St. Patrick anyway? To be honest with you, we're not too sure ourselves.
So, armed with a stack of books, we set off on a journey across our beautiful countryside.
Unfortunately, things didn't exactly go to plan, however.
No, things were an absolute mess.
As far as anybody knows, St. Patrick was a Welsh boy who was kidnapped by Irish raiders and taken here as a slave, which was a bit of a dick move by all accounts. He eventually escaped from Ireland but returned as an adult on a mission to convert us pagans to good old Christianity.
We were quite happy worshipping the sky and water gods at this stage.
So St. Patrick's favourite trick was to convert the old sacred places in the name of his newfangled god.
This is the reason why the island is littered with holy wells and relics, often with crazy stories attached that hark back to the days of magic, monsters and miracles.
Our mission was to investigate some of these semi-forgotten places in the hope it'd bring us closer to the mysterious man. Traditionally, a run like this would have taken up to a week for a pilgrim.
So how lucky were we to cram it all into one exciting day? Oh, you just open it like that? Okay, never mind. I didn't realise that it was simply a thing that you could lift up and open. I would have been better than Indiana Jones.
50 steps up this small mountain and we're already walking as if we're making a lunar landing for the first time.
It's like there's a lower level of gravity up this mountain. Oh yeah.
Action Man, the greatest hero of them all.
People can't see, there was an 80-foot drop there.
So here we are now at the top of Tullahin Hill.
Chris's little nod of I don't give a fuck where we are, but sure.
St. Patrick chased a demon up this hill, and the story goes that he was a little bit parched by the time he got to the top. So he said a prayer, and didn't a spring pop out of the ground? So he had a little drink there. I don't know where the demon went. There's no mention of the demon. So
the demon wouldn't have had much places to hide up here.
Yeah,
I mean, they would have been fairly exposed.
Yeah, maybe the demon fell off the cliff and that was the end of the fucking demon. I'm not sure, but anyway, St. Patrick won, demon nil.
Visits to the well were only part of a festive day which continued into the night with sports, dancing, general merriment, and usually a considerable amount of drunkenness, leading to faction fighting. Faction fights were regarded as a sport, and usually no great harm came from them, but combined with drunkenness, they could lead to serious injuries or occasionally death. Why did he pray for it here? Why not down on the flat land where everyone can live?
He wasn't thirsty down there.
No, but that's fucking selfish of him.
You're misinterpreting what was
I'm
going
not
on.
misinterpreting anything. I'm glad to see saints are as selfish as the rest of us.
So we found the well.
Definitely. We found it because obviously the international symbol for well is a piece of wood with a rusty nail in it.
Yeah.
Which everyone knows means well.
If you look inside the well, you'll find the corresponding piece of wood that was probably used for a cross at one stage.
Yeah.
But it died of old age.
The two just decided to part ways, I guess.
And just when I was sitting down, I discovered a tin of ultra brilliant white glossy paint, which was tucked behind the well for reasons which are still unknown, to be honest with you.
As an interesting piece of trivia, that piece of paint is believed to date back to the 1500s.
No, it's not. Don't listen to him.
Hold me, Jesus.
Hold me. So a story associated with Tullahin Well is that if you drink from the water,
you'll have eternal life.
Yeah. Where did I go?
Huh?
It's very earthy. I don't feel like there's any magic going through me right now, however.
I think it's like a slow kick thing. It's like you take a paracetamol, a few hours later, eternal life. Let's put the cross back together. Peter, do you want to hold it with me?
Yeah.
I think our work here is done.
I'm not being smart, but it's actually the best we could do.
Yeah.
It does look better than when we first arrived.
It looks postmodern,
Yeah.
I think. It looks very like a can of soup in a museum.
So we came off the mountain and we bumped into a local farmer who was tending his flock. He directed us to his wife, who was able to tell us a lot more about the area.
And do you actually own
We
the
do,
area
yeah.
that it's on?
We do.
Why didn't you think you're charging people to go in there?
I think if we were in Kerry, we might.
Yeah, I think you should charge people to go in there. Make it like Lords.
This could have been an insightful part of our
Oh, I know
mini
where this is
documentary,
going.
But Chris got distracted by a fucking dog.
No, all I thought was
You did?
dogs are funny. People like dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
People on the internet like to look at animals and go,
There's
isn't
a
that
time
cute?
and the place.
The well above, if you thank you. No, the well above is. Do you know of any folklore or legend surrounding it? Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Oh, fine.
Hey, these guys are doing something, and they have guns.
At least they have props, do you know?
These guys are also at the back in case anybody tries to escape. And that guy just has a gun. He's not actually dressed in any way, he's just
Wait a
walking
second.
around with a gun. Maybe because of past years of violence or something, they've had to just flood the place with a police presence. So between every float, there's 800 police officers.
Next year, there's no floats whatsoever. There's
just police officers.
Back to back.
So we left Tullahan Hill and headed to Ogris, the site of a hidden mystical spring that can reportedly cure blindness.
Reportedly.
Reportedly.
That's the operative word here.
Well, I didn't really know there was a well there, and I lived like 5 foot away from it, so.
When we got there, we met Siobhan, who wasn't much use telling us about the local area, even though she lives there.
No, neither were her friends of any help whatsoever.
I'm not even from here, so I haven't a clue what you're on about.
I heard the cows go for a piss in it.
Luckily, one of her neighbours had a much better understanding of the holy well.
However, he had absolutely no interest in helping us. He was very jolly in his trying to hit her with a stick, but he was still making a point.
He said he was far too busy for the afternoon, obviously mopping the tarmac.
The tarmac isn't going to clean itself. So we have no guide, and we're basically just walking along. And I think this man even realises we have no guide, as he nods at us and then laughs at us.
We did find something amazing, however. Yes, we believe it is a time-travelling tractor.
The tractor drove into the field, as you can see, and then disappeared. Thankfully, we eventually bumped into a man named Michael, who was more than happy to help us on our journey.
This is St. Patrick's Well as far as we know it, and it's also a penal mass rock. This would have been a place of worship probably going back to pagan times.
So as it turns out, I may have got the well wrong.
How surprising.
Is this the well that cures blindness, or is that it?
Well, we don't really know about that particular one now.
I look like a housewife who's giving the "you are in so much trouble when we get home" face.
There is another one about 5 miles across
Obviously, I'm not going to give out to you because there's a man here.
towards Eastkey on the far side of Tinfloy Parish. That's associated with blindness.
We're talking about a couple of miles.
Even though we were on a
difference.
cliffside.
But we don't know about this one. But probably it is the same. You'd wash your eyes, and if you had some sore or whatever, you threw some water onto it and hope for the best.
You hope for the best. That is old medicine in Ireland for sure.
Apparently you have to throw 3 stones onto this mound of stones in order for whatever it is you're trying to make true come true.
I didn't know what to do afterwards.
Yes, we both just awkwardly put our hands on our hips and looked like an ad for jeans.
Like a modern missionary in Africa or China, he had to be supported from home.
Hence Patrick, as he moved through Ireland, was accompanied by a self-supported troop. He had his own little posse. He had a cook, a chamberlain, a man for supplying wood, a helmsman, and a brewer. Look, you definitely need a brewer.
They had a brewer.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, there is no hope for us.
Maybe we really are just carrying on a tradition. Zion, that's not particularly St. Patrick related.
It's a shuttle bus with balloons tacked on. Fantastic.
Wow, that was some float.
Belly dancers.
Here are some local strippers.
And then 3 Hail Marys.
Meet Tracy. Tracy thought she was able to get a local historian to tell us all about the third destination, St. Patrick's Well in Dramard.
Surprisingly, this respected local historian didn't want to meet 2 men from the internet.
However, she was willing to relay all the information she knew to Tracy via the phone in a pub.
Which Tracy then wrote on an order slip belonging to the pub. The research that went into this documentary, as you can see, was painstaking.
This shrine is one of the oldest in the country and used to attract hundreds of people every year, but not so much anymore. Perhaps it got a little too complicated.
Back in the early 1900s, there was a woman who had a shake in the head and it cured her.
Okay, right, and it cured
What's
her.
a shake in the head?
A shake in the head is like a spasm in the head.
She's just shaking around a bit, yeah.
It also cured a guy who walked with crutches. Basically, he came down, did the big prayer rigmarole thing that I'm going to tell you about, and then as he was walking away without the crutches, he stopped when he was down the road and he was like, actually, if I go back and get the crutches, I can probably sell them and make loads of money.
He's a shrewd
Because it's a
businessman.
miracle.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
But as soon as he picked up the crutches again to go and sell them, he couldn't walk anymore.
He's a wicked sense of humour.
Yeah.
I kind of like the guy more now, knowing that. You know.
So the prayer was, right, this is the bit where you have to bear with me. First of all, outside you take your shoes off.
So I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Fair play. Chris at least went with it for a while.
I kind of half went for it and then became disinterested and annoyed.
Say 5 Our Father, Hail Mary, stand up, say 5.
This was basically the Konami code for Catholicism.
Then you stand up, turn left, you walk around.
Turn left.
Turn left specifically.
Why left?
Well, left.
I don't know.
And our young, vibrant minds began to wander.
And now look, they're fighting with sticks like in a minute.
St. Patrick loved the Irish people, yet he could not but regard them as barbarians compared with the polished manners and life of Roman civilization.
The saint would no more think of changing his manners to conform to the Irish customs than a modern European missionary in Central Africa would adopt what the hell? Oh, this thing is totally St. Patrick-y. Those vehicles look so much more friendly and less intimidating now that they have a shamrock on them.
I love the fact that these are probably the most Irish thing we've seen so far, yet they've made the least amount of effort.
Yes, that is, I suppose, traditionally Irish as well.
The best part of the final leg of our journey was I didn't exactly explain the full details of what was involved to Chrissy boy over here.
No. So we're going to drive across that?
Yeah.
That?
It's perfectly safe.
Across the sea?
Yeah.
Do you have a boat?
No.
Oh, we'll do it in your car, so.
My car is a beast of your own.
Little hovercraft.
It'll be fine.
We were headed to Coney Island. Yes, the original Coney Island, because the one in New York was named after this place by a homesick captain in the late 18th century.
He should have called it that sinking feeling of making an enormous effort to go somewhere expecting something cool only to be let down because it's utter shit island. What's even out there?
We're going to St. Patrick's wishing chair. It's a very important relic, and it grants you wishes.
Maybe we'll use the stars to navigate if we're coming back late at night. It'll be fine. There we are, driving across the horizon, basically into the sea. However, if you actually listen to what's going on, we're giggling in the car like two school children because our feet got wet. Oh God, Peter, this was a good idea.
It was difficult enough getting here in a bloody car, but as soon as we arrived, we realised we've actually got company following us from behind.
We realised it's not actually that dramatic, and there's a man walking. He was eating an apple earlier, actually. That's how casual he was being about the situation. He wasn't even facing him. As we were worrying in a car that we were going to die, that man was having lunch. And he has his shorts up, probably listening to something on the radio, and just having an old walkover. So it turns out it actually wasn't that dramatic an event at all.
So we actually got to interview this dude, and he turned out to be one of 3 residents on the island. But the wind had increased so much by this stage, you can't hear a word he said.
But hey, he does look like Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
There was no road markings.
But in typical Irish fashion, there was a pub on the island.
We think we have discovered St. Patrick's wishing chair.
It's in there.
Yeah,
That's it. Somewhere.
Chris doesn't believe me.
No, of course I don't believe him.
It's the right relic.
Because it's a rock.
He thought
I
St.
mean-
Patrick's wishing chair was going to be some sort of leather recliner out in the middle of a field.
I didn't quite think that.
He did.
But I thought that the name
This
would live
is
up to
typical
more.
Chris.
No. You're getting drunk.
No.
The tradition is that you sit on the chair and you make a wish.
Right. I wish Peter was dead.
So as we headed to HQ, we reflected on all the stories we had heard about St. Patrick that day.
And you know what? I began to realise that maybe St. Patrick is whoever you want him to be. And maybe, as long as we're coming together on this International Day and celebrating what's important to us, maybe that's all that matters.
Yeah, so wherever you are this St. Patrick's Day, we hope the saint brings a little bit of joy into your life in whatever way he can.
I'm just glad this documentary didn't reinforce any negative Irish stereotype. Oh, fuck.